Amherst Township Trustees called to order. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Abraham?
Here.
Lynch?
Here.
Gehrig?
Yes.
Kish. I have the November 24th Amherst Township meeting minutes. The meeting was called to order at 7:04 p.m. by Chairman Lynch with pledge to the flag. Roll call, Abraham, Lynch, Gehrig, and Kish were present. Also attending was R. Cerrone, K. Smarsh, G. Lynch, C. Nyhart, S. Noble, D. Hancock, D. Douglas, T. Anderson, and J. Klotz. 11:720, a motion by Gehrig, seconded by Abraham to approve the minutes of the November 10th, 2020 regular meeting as read. All ayes. 11:820, a motion by Lynch, seconded by Abraham. Move to approve that the October 2020 credit card account transaction detail has been reviewed per policy and is accepted as presented, subject to investigation. All ayes. 11:920, a motion by Abraham, seconded by Gehrig. Move to approve the bills and financial reports with reservations. All ayes. Under audience concerns, D. Hancock, Hidden Tree Lane, regarding issues with a fence on his property. D. Douglas, attorney, representing Mr. Hancock, presented copies of a letter to the trustees and discussed the issue they have been having with a zoning permit for a new fence. T. Anderson, Hidden Tree Lane, regarding Oberlin Road approach to Middle Ridge Road and the high accident area, wondering if there is any flashing signage that can be installed as a warning of a stop sign approaching. 11:10:20, a motion by Abraham, seconded by Gehrig, expenditure of CARES Act funds for equipment and network setup for employee remote telework during coronavirus pandemic. All ayes. 11:11:20, a motion by Abraham, seconded by Gehrig, expenditure of CARES Act funds for remote monitoring, surveillance, and enforcement of Township Recycling Center to eliminate personnel interaction between public and employees during the coronavirus pandemic. All ayes. Under correspondence, Trustee Lynch noted that packets contained a full copy of the Ohio Office of Budget and Management Coronavirus Relief Fund, Local Government Assistance Program Guidance and Frequently Asked Questions document that was updated on November 20th, 2020. Amherst Township will follow the guidelines we had already put in place, having CARES Act funds expended by year's end 2020. Amherst Township may still receive redistributed CARES Act funds prior to year end. Fiscal Officer Kish noted receipt of a notice to legislative authority from the Ohio Division of Liquor Control to request or not request a hearing for Lorain County Speedway. Trustee Lynch presented a copy of the Ohio Township Association Legislative Alert dated November 20th, 2020, pointing out that ability for local governments to hold electronic meetings has been extended through July 1st, 2021. Trustee Lynch asked Fiscal Officer Kish to watch for the otama voting ballots that will be sent to the township. Trustee Lynch presented copies of a summary for Amherst Township for NOPEC's General Assembly meeting. Lorain County Township Association is working with the county engineer to put together an MOU for road crew assistance countywide in the event of labor disruption due to COVID-19 cases. Fiscal Officers UAN year-end training will be held here at the Amherst Township Hall on December 1st, 2020 from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. 11:12:20, a motion by Lynch, seconded by Abraham. A motion to approve the appointment of Marcia Funk for the otama board when documentation is received. All ayes. Under reports, for ambulance, sheriff, and fire inspector, there were none. Under zoning, 6 permits for the month, 13 year-to-date new homes. Trustees received earlier this evening the resignation of Glenn Tomey from the Amherst Township Zoning Commission effective December 31st, 2020. Under road, park, and cemetery, the leaf season has ended. Assembly of the new picnic tables has been finished and are under the new pavilion. Yard waste was ground last week, and they will be hauling it out next week. OPWC Round 35 District 9 meeting on January 8th, 2021 at 1 p.m. at the Carlisle Township Fire Station. Under Phase 2/3, still do not have the bid specifications for Angle Ditch Phase 3 restoration. Would still like to get together for 2021 Lorain County Stormwater District Grant Application Planning, but Pete Zwick of the County Engineer's Office needs to be a part of that meeting. Trustee Lynch is still working on setting up this meeting. Under complaints, they are being handled by the designated individual. Under new business, Amherst Township's organizational meeting and year-end meeting will take place on December 22nd, 2020 at 7 p.m. at the Amherst Township Hall. 11:13:20, a motion by Lynch, seconded by Urick, moved to enter executive session at 8:17 p.m. according to ORC Sections 121.22G3 to discuss disputes involving the public body that are the subject of pending or imminent court action. All ayes. 11:14:20, a motion by Lynch, seconded by Abraham, moved to return from executive session at 9:07 p.m. All ayes. The next regular Board of Trustees meeting will be Tuesday, December 8th, 2020 at 7 p.m. at the Amherst Township Hall. Amherst Township's organizational meeting and year-end meeting will again take place on December 22nd, 2020 at 7 p.m. at the Amherst Township Hall. 11:15:20, a motion by Urick, seconded by Abraham, moved to adjourn at 9:08 p.m. All ayes.
Are there any changes or corrections to the November 24th meeting minutes?
I have none.
I have none
I
either.
have a motion to approve.
So move.
Second?
Urick,
Yes.
Abraham,
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes.
And under financials, you have a payment listing in front of you for the bills that were paid this round. In that set of bills is included the sub-grant to Life Care and also the $9,900 to Barnes Nursery for the grinding is also in that total. Also, the Butchko Electric for the work across the street, so it seems kind of high, but those are CARES Act, two of those are CARES Act funds. And David, I also put a copy of the invoice and of the check that I used for Barnes Nursery in your mailbox.
Okay.
Any questions on the payment listing?
What was the $11,560 to Life Care for?
That was the sub-grant that we did with, our portion of the sub-grant with Amherst, South Amherst, and the city of
Oh, okay.
Amherst.
Yeah, but isn't ours, Chris, is $7,173?
What was that extra 15,000 for the Lucas device they added? So the resolution actually says 11,560.
Okay,
You want me to bring you my papers?
yeah, I'm looking, I'm looking, I had the Lucas device originally at 15,000, so it ended up going above that then? So,
You know what, I would have to look at it. I don't know off the top of my head, but I do know it's 11,000.
well, we can check it before it's over, because we'll have to go in, we're gonna have a small executive session, maybe when we have that break, or when you're not part of it, Linda, if you can get that and check it, because,
Yeah, I went by what the resolution was changed to.
okay.
Any other questions on the payment listing?
Just bear with me, Chris.
Okay.
I'm just looking for the one account, the one fund, rather. Okay. Oh, I see. You gave me a separate page on it, and I'm searching for it. And
Oh, just for the CARES Act?
yeah, and I mean, you've got it in the main packet, too. I just thought when you did that at the last meeting, that was just a one-time deal and a special deal, so.
No, I was going to do it for each time, just so we see
Okay.
where we are. Well, our year-to-date expenditures with the CARES Act funds are $156,988.05. Encumbered still that I need invoices for is $142,087.13. So I was going to ask anyone who's a project manager on anything that's out, I need all the invoices by the 18th. Because I'm trying to wrap up as much as I can the 21st and the 22nd.
Okay. Does Georgianne know that about the technology also, that
Yes.
it's the 18th?
Yes, that I need his last invoice for across the street by the 18th.
Okay. Can Life Care make the 18th for the invoice?
I don't know.
Chris, if not, I realize, I know you've got the deadline, but, and we've got the 22nd is the 2021 end of year for 2020 and the 2021 org meeting. If necessary, we can always do a special meeting, but we'll still drive for the 18th, to get that done. It's still confusing to me because the state of Ohio, the Office of Budget Management, sent out correspondence, and on some it says December 28th and some it says December 30th. I'm assuming they're still going with the 28th. The
That's what
earlier
I
one
had
said the
written.
28th, and their logic was they needed 2 days because then they had to return it to the U.S. Treasury by the 30th.
Well, I will be in here all day on the 28th, so if I need anything signed, you will know that I'll need y'all to gather. I'll know more on the 21st and the 22nd.
Maybe what we'll do is remind me so we don't forget at the end. If you're planning on being here the 28th, is maybe we set up a tentative meeting for the 28th.
Just in case.
So we'll have it in case we need it. That way we can have everything posted to meet the, the letter of the law. But if it turns out we don't need it, then we can cancel.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. All right, there any questions on the financial reports or the payment listing?
No, I don't have any except that one for Life Care.
Okay, and we'll get further information on that because we may end up, that one may get voided, Chris, but we got to check into that. So then can I have a motion then to
Linda,
pay the,
I have it.
oh,
You
okay.
wanna look at it now, or do you want to wait?
Well, if we can get it now, we could void it now or approve it because my numbers aren't showing that.
Give it to him.
Where it's highlighted, and then the box underneath it, it says our portion was 11,560, or 650, or whatever it was.
Okay, well, hang on. All right, let me get to the beginning. This, I think, was the original. Okay, the difference was this hazard pay was taken out. If you go to this document, which we'll be covering shortly, Linda, unfortunately, I cut out the earlier version. If you look at the one that you had at our last meeting, it will show both this table and the new table, because that happened as we talked with the city of Amherst. Let me find out which number that was on here for the sub-grant. Okay, that was number 14. And if you look at the document that you had at the last meeting, it'll have 2 tables in it.
Okay,
One will be this one, but this is the one we're going by.
so we're doing 71, okay. So we'll, we
Yeah.
gotta reduce that.
You've got one of these
I
in your
have those,
packet.
yeah.
So that means we won't be paying that. With the exclusion of that, we will exclude that 11,560, and it'll be 7,000, what is it?
Yeah, I'll void it.
7,173, but see, we won't know exactly what it is till Life Care gets the actual invoice, because if you recall what Dave Richards did was use an estimate, a budgeted estimate on these, so these.
Oh, so
Yeah,
I thought
he
we
didn't
had
purchase it
received.
yet.
All right, well, I'll just void it out, and
Yeah,
hopefully
just
we'll have
void.
it by the 22nd.
Right.
If somebody can let them know we need that by the 18th.
Well, that's why I just asked about the 18th, and Denny will probably cover this later. He's already been in contact with them, but we probably didn't have that 18th date to give them. We were just saying the sooner the better, but it's not just our community, it's the city of Amherst and the village, the three that make up the joint ambulance district. And we can't speak for their meeting schedule, especially as the holidays come in, because just as we're making adjustments, they may make adjustments. And they're dealing with CARES Act funding and trying to get all this done, and they got the same amount of notice as we did on this. So it wasn't a lot of notice. I mean, we knew something was coming, we weren't sure how much, and we weren't sure when. It came in 4 different installments.
So the payment listing will end up being $60,033.68 with that voided out.
60,000 what?
$33.68. If you take out the $11,000.
$60,033.68.
68 cents. And
Once
I will
again,
do that-
60,000.
Okay, so we want to avoid that one?
Yes.
So basically, we want to pay the bills with reservation, with the exception of warrant 12,941.
12,941, correct.
That's your motion then, David?
Yeah, which is a void. I'd like that to be in the motion, please.
Yeah, but,
Yeah, that'll be my motion, I'll make that.
Okay.
Pay the bills with reservation with the exception of warrant 12941, which is a void,
and approve the financial reports.
and approve the financial reports as presented.
Okay.
And I'll second it.
Euring,
Yes,
Abraham,
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes.
I will void that and print a new one for you to sign, Neil.
Denny will do his utmost to get to the 18th, but I know he's been in contact with Dave Richards. And he's got, this evening, Chris, but he'll be taking him out to the other areas. He can leave the one for us that actually signed agreements now that, for the sub-grant that all the communities have signed.
Okay.
You know, because obviously that took a lot of time running around to get those from 3 different communities. Okay, anything else, Chris?
I do not believe so.
Okay, well then we still have in our packet, still dealing with the financials. If the trustees go, the next document in your packet is an amendment of the 2020 budget due the receipt of the 4th distribution of the coronavirus relief funds returned to Lorraine County Auditor pursuant to House Bill 614. And Chris has the appropriation adjustments, which are an addendum here to the resolution, in addition to the amended estimated resources. You'll see the only change was that 4th distribution, which is $6,316.87. I'm going to make this motion. It's already prepared. Section 1, the Board of Trustees of Amherst Township amends the 2020 township budget to account for the approximate $6,316.87 coronavirus relief distribution, and affirms that all the funds received from the Lorraine County Coronavirus Relief Distribution Fund pursuant to House Bill 481 and House Bill 614 be expended only to cover the costs of the township consistent with the requirements of Section 5001 of the CARES Act as described in Article 42, USC 601D, and be applicable regulations and guidance only to cover the expenses that, and it's all listed here, they're necessary expenditures incurred due to public health emergency and were not accounted for in the Amherst Township's most recently approved budget as of March 27th. And the third is were incurred during the period from March 1st, 2020 through December 30th, 2020. Section 2, I'm not going to read through the detail of Section 2, but again, that's all right out of the CARES Act and also the House bills and the Office of Budget and Management, Ohio Office of Budget Management requirements. So I'm going to make the motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, and just so we're all aware, I know this additional roughly $6,300. This is a result of coronavirus funds that were available to Lorraine County communities, that either communities did not meet the eligibility requirements, and there were 3 communities in Lorraine County that did not. And also, if a community did not encumber all of their funds by the due date, which originally was October 15th and then was extended to November 20th. So as a result of that, all that money was to be returned to the county auditor by November 20th. Unfortunately, that puts a weekend in between that. Then the county auditor had to redistribute that by November 25th, which really put the county auditor under the gun. I think ours might have come in a few days after that, but you know, you can't fault them because it would have been tough. What they did was the county commissioners, by the statute, based on the number of communities in Lorraine County that were eligible, they took 25%, went to the county, and the balance was distributed to all the other eligible communities based on a per capita basis. So that's what the county took care of, getting that information out. So we did receive these additional amounts sometime after November 25th. So, you know, just this past week. So that's all I have to discuss on that. Is there any other discussion?
I have nothing to add to it.
Okay, roll call then, Chris?
Lynch?
Yes.
Abraham?
Yes.
Urick?
Yes.
What was that resolution number?
12-3.
12-3.
Okay, the next document in your packet, this is the CARES Act Coronavirus Relief Fund expenditure planning. And as you can see, the township now, and this includes that additional $6,300, is over the various time periods, we've received just under $330,000 between July 14th and November 25th. The largest single amount came in the middle of October. That was the $207,000. That was based on a per capita. The previous 2 distributions that came in between the middle of July and early September were based on the local government fund. You know, we know it's a short time frame. Chris has made it clear she preferred December 18th as much as we can to get all of these invoices done. Everybody here between Kevin and Linda and Georgianne are working, and Denny, I know you're spearheading the project on the sub-grant. You know, have different timelines to meet, but try and drive people to get those invoices in by December 18th, if at all possible. This will probably be the last time this document is printed, because again, everything has to be finished by the end of this year. Now realize the last document from the U.S. Treasury and then the guidance included with the Ohio Office of Budget Management that was provided at our last meeting. There is some wiggle room there, whereas all the projects have to be done, the expenses, the terminology is incurred by the end of this year. Invoices can actually be paid up to February 1st of 2021, but the project has to be done and the expense incurred for that to happen. But I know to do that, you know, that just makes it more cumbersome on the fiscal officer in accounting for the CARES Act funds. So the cleaner thing is get everything done this year. If there are any updates to this document, I'll just email them out, you know, give them to Linda, and you can see them as they come up. I think the biggest thing is just checking off what's completed. I've been trying to keep track of what's done, just to make sure something doesn't fall through the cracks, since there's so much, it's a constantly changing thing. I do know, Chris, that there may be some discussion with you by Georgianne and possibly, and David, I may as well bring this up now. We had budgeted in here that some of the newsletter would be covered since we're putting the sections in on the COVID and giving the directions to the residents and also informing them of what's being done. But a question came up because we also have a solid waste grant, and because of the timing of that grant that we can't expend money till after an MOU's been signed, which doesn't come out till late in the year, is that whether a portion of the fall newsletter, which had a significant portion, and we're only doing the portion that's CARES Act related, could be paid for with CARES Act funds. And there was some question, well, maybe we can't because the specific grant application to solid waste puts in there that it'll be paying for the fall newsletter. But I don't see any reason when you put that in. Obviously, David, you don't know exactly what the expenditures are going to be because you got a portion of grinding, you got a portion of newsletter. You really don't know. And I don't know that when it says the fall newsletter, how hard and fast that has to be. And I know it's difficult because you don't have a director to talk with at solid waste anymore. But when we were looking at the apportionment, we were wondering, well, why can't solid waste pay the portions for the fall and winter newsletter that are non-CARES related, and the CARES fund pay just for the CARES portion, and get both of them so we don't lose that portion from the fall newsletter?
You need a portion for advertising. Okay, you need and that's covered by the newsletter. So the amount that goes to advertising, we need that as part of the grant. So that amount has to be used to cover the cost of the newsletter. And I believe in the newsletter, I believe we did something with the collection center, no? Jordy, and it had the commissioner's logo in it, et cetera. It was advertising for, recycling, for solid waste. So that is a component of the solid waste grant. So that has to be used, the money has to be used for that.
But it will be, David. My point is I think it's just in the communication between all the different individuals, because when it got back to Georgianne, it was she can't use any of the CARES Act portion in the fall newsletter because that has to be paid for with solid waste funds. And I know I drove her nuts because I keep saying, why? I said, well, I said, why? Then she pulls out the actual application, so we'll see the solid waste grant application specifically says it's paying for the fall newsletter. And I said, well, Georgianne, that makes no sense to me because there's no way David knows exactly what those costs are, and that's probably why you put partial,
Yeah.
and an estimate in there. I said, so, and the MOU doesn't distinguish between fall, winter, and both of these are coming out. They're both going to be incurred this year, so we should be able to capture both portions. And we'll still be covering the advertising requirement because that's still in there, and we'll still pay for it with the solid waste funds. The logic in doing this is that this gives us the opportunity to protect some of those general fund, some of the monies in the general fund, which is, general fund and road fund are the two toughest ones, okay? So it's not going to be a huge amount. We're probably talking the neighborhood total between the two of $1,000, okay?
The only thing we can't do, Neil, is we can't pay for the newsletter twice with two different grants. That's,
We're
with
not.
the solid waste.
We're
That's
not.
the only thing, no, okay, we're not.
We're not.
I just want to let you know that. That's the only item I know. We do have that advertising caveat, as I explained. We need to cover that amount with solid waste funds. The grindings were what, 9,900, which is more than last year. Definitely more than what I anticipated when I filled out the grant. And once again, like you said, you don't know until you get the final bill what it's going to be. So definitely whatever isn't covered by the newsletter will go toward the grinding. check, I'll work with Chris on that, what amount is needed on the newsletter. The only thing I know we need for sure is the amount for advertising, because we were using the newsletter as our advertising component. As far as the rest of the newsletter, I'll see. We can even a nominal amount as a partial, and the rest can go to grinding. And if anything, if we're going to be able to use coronavirus funds, that'll free up money that was said to be for the newsletter, can cover the grinding. Like you said, the road and bridge, a lot of that money would come from the road and bridge for the grinding or the general fund. So that'll be good for that'll be good for
What
that.
I'm going to do is, I'll have Georgianne send an email to everybody showing the portion that is CARES funding, and all you have to do is subtract that.
Yeah.
That leaves you what the balance is, and you can say, does that cover the amount you need, for the, what the solid waste grant says you need to have for the advertising. Okay, and I'm sure I expect it's going to more than cover it, David, but I don't want to lose out on that portion, because of these CARES Act funds, the lion's share are going to fire, first responder, and emergency medical service. That's where the vast majority are going to. The others we've got is, as far as from general fund and road and bridge, the largest portion will be for the township administrator, who's trying to keep all this organized. And then the portions that will be captured from the timesheets for the road department, and anybody else that's been involved, but, I don't expect those, and what I've seen so far, those are not going to be huge dollars that they're estimating. The other projects, like the open-air shelter that was put in, the extra cleaning that's been done, the deep cleaning, the sand, those are all extras. That was never planned on anyway, so it doesn't protect any general funds. Those are all definitely additional expenditures.
The newsletter's been running about $1,800 per issue. So either way, we're only talking $1,800 one way or the other, Neil.
Times two.
Times two.
Yeah, because I'm saying the fall and winter, so it's two
I'm trying to think.
newsletters.
I think
Don't
I
say,
only-
the way it got presented back was, nope, you did all that work on the fall newsletter, but you can't capture any of that cost. I don't think that's correct. I think it's just a misunderstanding in the communication and interpretation. So, but we'll have her put it together, send out an email, and from there, you know what the requirement is for that solid waste grant. Just see the portion that has to comply, David. I really suspect that we're still going to have quite a bit there to cover it, but you'll have to really look at the numbers. Okay, and there's no reason all those numbers have to come, even in covering the advertising, from just the fall, if you've got it in the fall and the winter. Okay? All right.
See what we got. The only thing was, I know in the part of the grant, we asked about the collection center, putting something in for the collection center, and that we did. And that would change otherwise, just our regular newsletter. I don't know if there's anything special in the winter as far as that goes.
Have to look at it. Okay?
If you could do, put something special in, but as long as you got the bill and everything by the 15th,
Right.
put that in.
Okay, good. All right, the next item is the temporary annual appropriation for,
Did we do that? Yeah, we did that.
oh, you know what?
12-3.
We're all set?
Yeah, right here.
All right, the temporary annual appropriation measure for 2021 for Ohio Revised Code, Section 5705.38. Chris worked through the appropriation numbers. You can see those under Section 1 of the resolution. and I don't necessarily want to read through all these numbers, but essentially it comes down to $1,447,550 appropriated in 2021, whether it's coming from general fund, road and bridge, ambulance, fire EMS, the motor vehicle license fund, gasoline tax, cemetery fund, garbage and waste, public works, and the potential stormwater grant funds. Those are the main funds where the township receives any revenue. So again, that'd be $1,447,550. Section 2, the Amherst Township Fiscal Officer shall provide the township's budget on such forms or in such format as required by the Lorraine County Auditor, and those forms are attached. The rest is boilerplate, so this will be my motion.
I will second it.
Are there any questions or other discussion? Okay, roll call then, Chris?
Lynch,
Yes?
Abraham,
Yes.
Gehrig.
Yes.
And that's 12-4, Chris?
Yes.
Okay, I don't see anyone here. This has got to be a first in a long time. There's no general public here. So, I guess no need for a welcome. I'll move on to correspondence. Chris?
I have none.
David?
I have nothing at this time.
Okay, Denny?
Nothing at this time, so.
Okay, you do have one in your packet. This just came in, and this is for NOPEC's 2021 Community Event Sponsorship Program. We will be eligible for another $1,500, which we typically use to offset the cost of dumpster days. Again, the requirements are still that it has to be a free event, open to all our residents, which for Amherst Township, the dumpster day event definitely complies with those requirements. Linda, I'm not sure if they're going to change the actual application, but they changed the format. They're talking about a new form to fill out. You'll have to take a look at that, and you're going to have to sign up with their new platform that they have. And I didn't put the actual community registration code on this document. I suppressed it, but I sent it to you in an email because their whole reason for doing this is to prevent some people that must have been somehow getting access to the funds that shouldn't get access to the funds. So I did not want to put that out in a public document, that's in all these packets, which typically, if there's someone from the public, they would pick up. But that's just so everybody's aware this just came in, and we will have those $1,500 in funds.
We still have our 1,500 from this year also, that we didn't spend because we canceled dumpster days for
But
April.
they did tell us that one we could,
We can roll it over to
Roll it
21, so
over.
we'll have $3,000.
okay. Well, that's even better. And I hope I didn't talk over you. David and Denny, you heard what Linda said?
Yes.
Okay. And this one, though, we have to get in the application because you know how they've kind of given leeway and for people that are late or don't get done, they kind of made it, pretty large in all caps that if you don't have this done by June 30th, 2021, you lose the funds. There's no grace period, no, okay, we'll give you that mulligan there.
I'll make sure it's done.
Okay, we'll move on to reports. Ambulance, Denny?
Nothing under ambulance.
Okay, sheriff's not here. Zoning, Remy?
There's been no activity so far this month. We have no permits. Everything's been kind of quiet. Nothing pending.
Okay. And then I guess I really want to cover it under zoning here, a couple of things. We had at the last meeting, and I think I put this under complaints too. I did. Mr. Hancock was in here from 6606 Hidden Tree Lane regarding the fence construction, Remy, that you issued a stop work order on. He was represented by Mr. Dave Douglas. I put that down right now as my responsibility, and I've been working with the prosecutor's office on that. I think for the most part, you've seen most of that correspondence. And I know Linda had put together a document to send over to Mr. Hancock, but since then, our legal counsel has asked us to hold off on that. He's trying to get some additional information from the county tax map department before any correspondence is sent. And the last communication I had was Jerry Ennis just said, hold off on everything. He's going to talk directly with Mr. Douglas first before any resolutions brought to this. And I do not know, I think my last communication would have been last Friday, so I don't know if they've made contact since then between the two of them. So I just want you to be aware, I've got it down under complaint so it's not forgotten, but right now it's between, I think we're going to get resolution to this, that will satisfy everybody here and everybody understands the situation, but we'll just have to wait till we hear back from legal counsel. The second item that I want to cover under zoning, because this has been an item that's predominantly been dealt with in executive session in terms of the litigation on a zoning variance is what was requested that eventually would have gone into a zoning, some zoning change, or at least site plan review. Well, that deals with the approximately 264 acres between Overland Road and State Route 58 that Amherst Consolidated Properties would like to develop. The property owner is Amherst Consolidated Properties, so it gets confusing. But in any case, if you just mark your schedules for it, there's been a tentative public hearing date, has been set for Tuesday, January 26th, 2021. Now the elected officials, and Remy, it's probably good that you be there, and obviously we'll notify our zoning board so that they have the opportunity to participate.
January 26th.
January 26th, 2021, that'll be on a Tuesday at the Lorain County Transportation Center. Let's see, I don't have that address here, but you can look that up.
Now, are we meeting here?
No.
We're meeting there.
We will meet there, and the reason we'll meet there is so that we can have the maximum number of township residents that don't have internet access and
What
don't
time?
want to drive to Leary will come here. The meeting will be at 7 o'clock, but we will actually, in this document, you'll see I'm requesting that we've got it reserved so that it opens at 6 o'clock. And the reason it'll be open at 6 o'clock is that gives time to make sure everybody gets assembled in there. I don't know if there will be any documents available for viewing. I don't know what Amherst Consolidated Properties is going to have for this. I have not confirmed that date with them yet. Because right now we've just been, the communication has gone from legal counsel to legal counsel. I do want them to pencil it in on their schedule. The only thing I see that could potentially disrupt that date would be if somehow our test run of the technology, if there's some glitch. Realize this is going to be a first for the county in conducting a public hearing at the Transportation Center. We originally wanted to do it in the county administration building, but the county administrator actually prefers to keep the general public out of that building because of their COVID concerns. But they've had the transportation center, which is much larger and more airier, and you don't have to be going up elevators or anything like that. He felt it's a little bit safer for people to assemble in. They've told me, I haven't gone over to actually look at the layout, but that is going to occur. We aren't going to do that till we actually do the test run of the technology also at the transportation center with the county's IT director, and that's Cameron McDonald, is, I'll get to see the spacing, but they believe that'll hold 120 people over there.
That's the old train station downtown?
The old train
Yeah,
station
that's a
downtown
large
area.
building.
And so that's probably, Remy, most likely you'll be there, but I don't know yet, because we're also going to want several. We'll need one person operating the technology inside, but we'll need at least one, preferably two township people here. And it appears we can safely, pretty easily put 15 people in here and manage that. And I'm hoping when we put together the letter, Linda, that goes to the adjoining, was it 42, 44 adjoining property owners? It'll explain things to them. You know, it'll be encouraging them to either go to the transportation center or do it from their home. But if for some reason they can't do either one of those, whether it's driving or not access an internet or a smartphone, they can come here, but we're going to have a limited amount. And we hit that limit, which right now we're estimating at 15 that we can still do and meet the guidance, we're going to lock the doors. And there'll have to be a placard and something to hand to them with directions, and they'll have plenty of time to get to the transportation center. If they come in late, they're just going to get over there late. We can't control that. And hopefully, I know we don't know if we'll still have the large turnout we had before. You know, things were different when we had that. COVID hadn't hit yet. So there's all sorts of things that can impact that turnout, but we at least want to give people the opportunity. But this will be two-way communication so they can actually participate in the public hearing. It's not like a lot of the public meetings you're seeing. People can view them, but they're not participating. Since this is a public hearing, they have to be able to participate. So we'll get the final testing done. I had asked for, originally we were hoping we could do that testing tomorrow, but that's not working out. They didn't want to do that because they're having their sheriff sales on that day, so I just got to wait to get another day, and the county administrator's assistant has now told me just work with their IT director direct, and she'll kind of be available to have things open so that we can go and look at it, but he's the one that has to take care of what they need to have at the county level to test this out at the transportation center. Okay? What I'm going to be asking from the people here is that somebody, you know, that you go at home, so we'll have somebody here at the township, some at home, and just see that it's actually working back and forth between all of you, and then for us to get used to how we keep it organized so that not everybody's trying to participate at once. So that a group's muted out, they can hear, but they can't speak, so that you only have one person speaking at a time, whether they're at home, at the transportation center, or here at Amherst Township Hall. Okay, and the people here will have to direct them, you know, with the mics. If 15 show up, well, we don't have 15 microphones, so we may have to have them, you know, go up to a podium and speak, you know, then exchange as they move off for the different individuals. We do plan with the expectation, I'm going to assume most people that want to see this will actually go in person at the transportation center. I could be wrong, maybe most of them will stay at home and participate that way. But expecting they'll probably go to the transportation center, we'll probably start with those people first, getting first dibs at the mic, and maybe by the time they get through it, people that are watching from the township hall or at home, maybe their questions will already be answered, you know, and so that might say, well, there's no need to say the same thing that's already been said. But, you know, we'll see what happens when we get there. But just mark your calendar. Again, it's a tentative date because two things. We've got to make sure all the different parties can be there, and we also have to make sure the technology works. It's also, if the trustees notice, I know Chris noticed right away, that would have been one of our regular trustee meetings. We're going to end up canceling that meeting. If we have to, we may have to schedule a special meeting to pay some of the bills that come in from our first meeting of January. But I did that because it's just too difficult with the number of different people that have to participate to get everybody's schedule coordinated. So at least by setting that date, I know the individuals in this room are available. So now it's just getting a hold of legal counsel on both sides and making sure those people are available. And if they are, then Linda, we can get that communication going out to all the adjoining property owners, make sure that the prosecutor agrees with the wording that's on there. I know you've already put together, other than the date and time, the public notice to go to the newspaper, but the real meat and potatoes is going to be the communication going out to the adjoining property owners, and then what's put on the township website, and then what goes through on social media as far as communicating how to participate. Okay? All right, there any other questions then for Remy on zoning?
No?
Now, we're gonna be meeting outside the township?
Yes.
We are permitted to meet outside the
Yes.
township?
Yes, if you recall, at the last meeting, I gave the guidance that was just passed that extended how meetings can be held virtually, electronically, and with that, you also can be holding it somewhere else, and this has already been done, with some of the other townships where they didn't have as large, and that's our issue, David, is how large the potential interest is. Their issue was they couldn't take 20 or 30 people, so they went to a different location. But that's already all been approved with the prosecutor. I'm just surprised you're asking that now. Are there any other questions?
I think the question was, who's gonna be where? If we're gonna be in Elyria, then,
We're going to be in Elyria because that's where the presentation's going to be, and that's where most people are going to be, David. And that way, you're not, if you were here, if we were all here, guess what? We just took up a spot for one of our residents to be here. So what we're trying to do is accommodate, as best we can accommodate our residents that'll have an interest in this. All right?
okay.
Okay, roads, parks, and cemetery, Kevin?
Then salting roads, snow removal. We had some branches and trees come down that have been cleaned up on Dewey Road, and shop and truck repair. That's it.
And does everyone know what happened with the truck repair? It had to be high intensity.
I do.
It was the alternator.
Okay. Yeah, well, we appreciate it. I can just imagine what was going through your mind at that time and how fast you must have been moving.
How many hours did you put in last Monday?
Sorry?
How many hours did you put in last Monday?
We were in at 3, and we left at 9 that night, and then came back in at
A little bit of a long day. Thank you, Kevin.
Is there anything else then, Kevin?
3. No.
Okay, and one, David, I do have a question for you. This was more with the website. Chris had received the communication on the waste pickup. Linda received the phone calls. You saw the responses by email. I would have sent them to you. But I guess I wanted to ask you, because your road was missed too did your...
They came in on Wednesday then.
So it did get picked up? Because
Yeah.
that's what Sarah said, they went back, and I wasn't sure, Linda, with the timing. I know Chris's came in before they would have gone back. I wasn't sure if your phone call, the timing of that. I know the one Chris had would have
That
been...
was through the website, somebody just reported.
Yeah, and that
You
was
just
on
come to
North
me.
Ridge. I know what Rumpke's difficulty, they said it was that roads weren't plowed. Well, realize they're not just the township roads, and that's why I was mentioning to Kevin, I know it was tough because we got dumped on with that snow, and then one of the vehicles was out, but it's not just township roads. You can't assume that's the case. We've got county roads, and we've also got some of the city roads like North Ridge, and all the communities were fighting the same thing then. But I know that Sarah Matthews from Rumpke said they'll do their best to come back out, but you know, it's how do you communicate with people quickly, like, don't bring your container in, they're going to come back. But she sent them out there. I never got a list of the roads that were, quote, missed, which was what I was originally expecting. I know ours was picked up late on the recyclables, but that's understandable. It was very late, but they picked them up on the actual day.
There were 2 or 3 Rumpke trucks that did get stuck in Hidden Valley and had to be towed out.
Okay.
So I think that was some of the issue.
Pulled out?
Big
Hold on, yeah.
ruts.
Yeah, well, it was tough for all of them. I was glad they came out. I know there was some confusion on social media. And you would think by now people realize if it's on Facebook, don't take it for granted unless it's coming from an official source. But unfortunately, people see something, and we all remember the Chicken Little story when we were kids. And that Chicken Little story is still applicable today. And people got it confused. They
With
said
Republic.
Rumpke wasn't going to pick up, which was wrong. That was Republic. And, you know, I don't know how much of that could have caused confusion, but hopefully everybody got it picked up, you know, when Rumpke came back out. But
And if not, they got it picked up today.
yeah, well, hopefully they had room in their container. Okay, we'll move on then to anything for senior services or township administrator, Linda?
No, just, I've been working on the CARES Act, and that's been consuming all of my time.
Yeah,
With
well,
the
it's-
hours and going through some things.
trust me, when that audit comes, you'll be happy it's all there.
Yeah, we have it pretty well documented. I do have a plumber coming on Tuesday, the 15th, to install the rest of our faucets.
Okay,
And then I have on the 16th, OCD is coming in, that it's called, I forget what in the world, it's cleaning something or other. They're coming in on the 16th to do deep cleaning.
okay, and I don't recall, were the scrubbers installed?
Yes,
Okay, so those are done, because
those are done. If you look at that paper I gave you earlier,
mhm.
the grayed out areas are, everything's complete on that. And I have all the invoices and everything for those. So like the generator's taking care of the cleaning contracts, we still have the outstanding for deep clean. Plus tomorrow, or Thursday, they're coming for the regular clean. Faucets still have an outstanding for the install. The lighting is done, I just haven't finished that yet. Video is still outstanding. Victor's still working on that, we still have some invoices. Walking trail's done, dumpster days are done. Yard waste, we're still waiting on Victor. Shelter's done, air purifier's done. Let's see, the sub-grant I have marked as done, but we're gonna have to redo that.
Yeah,
The work from home, that's all taken care of, the sanitizing. And then I have the hours I'm still working on, still getting people's hours.
good.
So just a question on that, is there a possibility to revisit getting a truck, since we have quite a bit of money that we have not spent?
Well, it could, there won't be any that's not spent, because it's all going to go to fire and EMS.
Reducing the fire and doing.
It's
doing the
possible, I
truck.
just don't know if we can get the timing in. The issue we had before is we were trying to get the bid price, the state bid
Right.
price. And that state bid went through, I forget the end, was it October or
October
December?
something.
But
It was October something, and the new ones I just looked at today, and there are no pickup trucks on there. There's a lot of hybrid and electric cars and sedans, SUVs, but they're all the electric, which aren't gonna,
what I would do
SUVs would be
is,
the only one.
have you and Kevin discussed this at all?
we have not. That was just my idea that I came up with this afternoon, all on my own.
At this point, the trustees have already approved this as potential. I'm gonna let you guys discuss
Okay.
that. It was just that bid price was a very good price.
It was a very good price, but Kevin searched high and low and could
I
not
know,
find any.
and then when you looked at anything, okay, what else do you have that's similar, that price went so high, it was hard to swallow spending that kind of money. you know, we still have to keep employees separated. We don't want them driving together, and I know that makes it very difficult. I'm going to leave it up to you guys to look at that.
Okay.
Okay, the only thing we might have to do is that, you know, when we put it in there just so that we could get all the funds incurred if we had to, and then we pulled that one out, is that was one we had a hard number on. Okay,
On
since
the resolution?
on the truck, because it
Yeah.
was the state
State
bid
bid.
price. I just can't imagine you, and see, I zeroed it out now, Linda. I left the numbering in there.
I think it was around 22,000, I think is what it was. Somewhere, do you remember, Kevin? 21 something? Oh, there you go, you know exact number.
Yeah, if we're talking something within the reasonable range, you've got a real need, you still can do it.
Okay.
Okay, we've had the prosecutor approve it. It was just a matter of, that price really looked attractive.
And it
Okay?
did to everybody else too, that's why they were out
Right.
of them everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody else.
Yeah, I'm surprised the state didn't put it in their new.
I looked
Bid
high and low,
package.
no, there was a police motorcycle and there's a lot of like dump trucks and that kind of stuff.
You maybe give them a call. You know, maybe they've got one out and had to come in. I mean, we'll be fighting the schedule,
Okay,
but,
okay, we'll call.
That's a good point. Was there anything else then, Linda?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, we'll move on then to the complaints. Remy, there was, again, the one on Deer Run in regards to the drainage installation.
I gotta get to her house tomorrow.
Okay. And then the property maintenance at Juniper, that's one where you said they're building the,
Right, then I went by there and he did build the shed there, and he's got all the junk inside the shed for the most part. I mean, there was a bicycle, and a few things out in the yard, but it wasn't the mess that it used to be. I would say that it's correct.
so go ahead and then take this off.
You can take that one off. They did a nice job on the barn, it looks nice.
Right, and hopefully the individual that sent in the complaint understands some of the items they put in there. We have no authority on
Got kids and,
how many kids you have is, you know, that's
Yeah.
God's decision.
got a bunch of kids and they're leaving their stuff all over the place.
Yeah. All right, and the last one we already discussed, I'm taking care of that as far as the fence issue.
Yes.
Okay, as far as the other items on the agenda that have specific responsibility assigned, is there anything that the board needs to cover there?
I have nothing.
Okay. David?
I have nothing at this time either.
Okay. Any new business? Okay, well then just, if we mark tentative, we got on January 26th, 2021. Realize the public hearing will start at 7, so you definitely want to be there early. The doors will open at 6. So that's 7 o'clock p.m. at Lorraine County Transportation Center. And then we have our end of year and organizational meeting will be on Tuesday, December 22nd, 2020. And then I guess if we want to set a tentative date as a just in case.
Just in case of
That's
what?
7 o'clock as well.
Or Chris, if she needs us as far as signing any bills or anything that comes in there at the end, something that comes up between the 22nd and the 31st. And you said you're going to be in on the 28th.
Most of the day, yeah.
So, and that's a Monday. So did we want to do something then, or do you want to do it the 29th in the morning?
I'm open both days.
How early
I've
are
got
you?
both days, 8 o'clock.
I'm asking because I know with David and Denny and myself will go earlier. So can you guys make 8 o'clock on the 29th as a tentative date of December?
On the 29th.
Yes, at 8 a.m.
I'll see what my schedule is. That's a Tuesday,
That's a Tuesday.
I suppose.
So at 8 o'clock a.m.
On the 29th.
on Tuesday, the 29th.
For your end.
Yep.
Trustee special meeting. If you can just let us know then, Chris, based on what you're doing on the 28th, if it's necessary, and then if anything else comes up that, you know, who knows what'll come up between now and then.
Right. I'd rather have it on the calendar and take it off than,
Yes.
That's the 29th, Tuesday at 8 a.m.
8 a.m. here at the Township Hall. And you'll just get an email notice if we have to cancel it. We'll know on the 28th, you know, and I'll just send an email, Linda, and you can just mark canceled across the posting if that's what has to happen.
yep.
Okay, is there any new business?
No, I have none.
All right, our next regular, I already went through when the next meeting will be. Before we go into executive sessions, anyone have anything to bring up? Okay, all right then, I'm going to make a motion to enter into executive session for ORC Section 121.22 G. Bear with me. Where is it? It's the one on personnel, that's what I'm looking for, but G1, to consider appointment, employment, dismissal, and discipline. You've got all the language there, Chris. That'll be my motion.
Second.
Lynch,
Yes.
Euring,
Yes.
Abraham.
Yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion to return to the regular meeting from executive session at 9:55 p.m.
Second.
It's
Okay.
8:55.
Oh, 8:55, thanks, Chris.
You're welcome. Lynch,
Yes.
Abraham,
Yes.
Euring.
Yes. Oh, my glasses on, I could have believed anything. It's 8 o'clock.
Okay, and as a result of the executive session, one of the items there, David, you were going to bring a motion forward.
Yes, I would like to make a motion that we hire Rose Betschker as a media assistant effective 12/8/20 at a wage class C, $19.76 an hour.
I'll second that motion.
Euring,
Yes.
Abraham,
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes. Okay, is there any other business? If not, can
No,
I
I
have a
have
motion
none.
to adjourn?
I so move.
Second.
Abraham,
Yes.
Euring,
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes.